Good afternoon, everybody on YouTube. This is Rick Thomas from Obsolete Video Services in Arizona. Hey guys, I just want to do a follow-up to the previous video I just did on the horror host footage, the Seymore from, Sinister Seymore from Monster Rally clip that I am doing some video restorations. I just want to explain to you guys some further information about this Sony Av-5000A. I did get some emails about it. So we're going to do some follow up to the video I just posted about the Sinister Seymore footage and restoration recorded on this original machine, the Sony Av-5000A. This will give you guys a little idea what Obsolete Video Services does and the extent of the work that I do to basically pull off any miracle possible. And pretty much this particular footage with Sinister Seymore on this particular format in color was a God-given miracle, and I'm going to explain to you why. Okay guys, this is a Sony Av-5000A. It's a pilot tone color machine. It is not NTSC. They are not compatible. This is a very early format of color that they adapted with the EIAJ format, which didn't fly. Sony was in a rush to put this out. So they ended up going with the JVC underscore NTSC color as the standard. Sony was so arrogant, they thought this color standard would be adopted, and unfortunately it wasn't. This is the only machine that was put out with a color tone pilot system such as this. And anything recorded on the Sony Av-5000A in color on this machine must be played back on this very machine to get it back in color. The color is not compatible with any EIAJ machine out there. It is indigenous to this machine only. Okay guys, as you can see, I've got a brand new machine that I have here. This is brand new in full working order. And on top of it, I've been working with this machine for 25-30 years, so I've collected an awful lot of parts. A lot of the problems on this machine, I got the service manuals, I know all the mistakes they made, and I know why these machines fail. If you have ever had a Sony Av-5000A or a 5000 and it does not play in color, I'm about to explain to you why. And why having a machine like this, if you're not a service technician, if you're not somebody who really understands obsolete video formats and knowing how to service these machines, and if you do have to have the parts for this machine, and it's very, very complicated. So let's walk over here real quick and talk some more. Okay, guys. As you know, you're going to basically pull up the video here. As you can see, that's the Sinister Seymore video footage that was recorded here on the Sony Av-5000A. As you can see, the image in the video is fantastic. The color is quite noisy and blotchy, which we'll be able to repair in software that we're setting up right now to correct a lot of the image qualities of these very rare horror host videos that I'm finding on lots of stuff, just on obsolete 1-inch machines, you name it. We're finding a lot of horror host videos on horror host on obsolete video formats. But this particular stuff was done on the Sony Av-5000A. It's a very, very complicated machine. It's the only indigenous color pilot tone machine there is. So if there's some footage found on this particular machine and you want it in color, it's the only machine that can play it back. Now, I have a lot of parts. I've been working with this machine for over 25 years, maybe 30 now, since the early 90s, I think, or late 80s, when I started really diving into this machine, and I was actually going to do some help on a gentleman who had a bunch of tapes done on this machine. And at the time, the information wasn't known, didn't work with it very much. And then after about a year or so, I knew exactly what the issues were. And obviously, I'm an engineer, and I was able to service the machine and actually get them in color. But unfortunately, it was a little too late. Didn't get a chance to help him out. But, too late. At the time, I wish I could have gotten contacted with them, because I do have the machines that can do these now. But as you can see, this is a Sony Av-5000. It's a special color machine. What makes this machine unique? Okay, here is some of my electronic parts, scrap, circuit boards for this particular machine. I've had many of these machines over the years. I think at least 20, 25 of them, and an awful lot of them were complete junk. And but I did keep a lot of the boards and various parts for these machines. The biggest problem with the Sony AV5000 and AV5000A is the color modules. You got one here for black and white, one here for color, and you got one here for black and white, one here for color. And also you got the reproduction version on the playback color board during playback. You have other color and black and white modules which are here. As you can see, this is a massive board with massive color filters. Okay? And another big problem here is they used relays on these boards. These boards in this machine would get very, very hot, and the circuits would get all funky and cause this video playback transistor to start looking funky in color position, which is what I think happened here. Whoever recorded these videos, the machine probably got hot and the transistors were starting to get all funky on it because of the heat, and that might have caused the color shift in the recording video. But as you guys can see, I do have an awful lot of parts to this Sony AV5000A. I know this machine backwards and forwards. I have the service manuals. I have literally all the color modules for these machines. You cannot get these. This machine is not playable without these color modules being changed out. The transistors in some points were put in backwards. These modules would burn up or short out, and that was a big flaw with this machine. Not as much on the color board itself, but on the main modulation board. The modules would burn up due to the fact transistors and capacitors were put in backwards. That was a big flaw in the manufacturing of this machine. That's why so many of these do not work when you find them, and even if it's a very rare machine, and even if you do find one that works, it does not last very long. The machines have to be rebuilt and the errors have to be corrected, which is what I did with this machine. I fixed all the capacitors, brand new capacitors, and I fixed the transistors that were in backwards, and we put in fresh brand new color modules in the modulation board due to the fact those modules short out because of that issue. I did have brand new stock, and this machine I put all brand new stock and corrected all the issues on the machine. As you can see, the color board and the modulation board is very complicated. It's nothing like the Sony AV8650 or the 8600, which is a total NTSC format, which did not use relays in any way or multiple types of color filters or black and white filters. This one here was a very, very oddball design, but it would get very, very hot and things would short out. We corrected everything on this machine brand new, and we put the transistors in the proper direction where they belong, and all new capacitors. So this machine is brand new and 100% restored to the correct design. All the ones that came off the assembly line were faulty and they were bad, and they were going to short out sooner or later due to heat and faulty design. But again, guys, the Sony AV5000 is where we started doing the video recovery of the Sinister Seymore footage, which obviously explains probably the color distortions because the machine was getting very hot. And of course, you know, we built custom fans underneath our particular machine that blows cool air up into the unit so we don't have that issue anymore. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video.